If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Your support helps us create more exciting content for you.
Once upon a time, there was a wealthy man who had 3 daughters. 2 of them were selfish and greedy, while the youngest was kind-hearted and full of love. One day, the man received devastating news. His ships had been destroyed by a terrible storm. He lost everything he owned, except for a small cottage in the village. His 2 eldest daughters were unhappy with their new life and spent their days complaining, while all the household chores fell on Beauty's shoulders. After some time, the father learned that one of his lost ships had miraculously arrived at the harbor. Filled with hope, he immediately set off to check on it. Before leaving, he asked his daughters, "What would you like me to bring back for you, my dear girls?" "Dresses, shoes, necklaces, and bracelets," the 2 eldest eagerly replied. Turning to his youngest, he asked, "And what about you, Beauty? What would you like?" With a gentle smile, she said, "Just a single rose, Daddy." After a long journey, the father finally arrived at the harbor, only to find that his ship was in ruins and all his belongings were gone. Disheartened, he began his journey home. As night fell, the forest grew dark, cold, and heavy with snow. He rode for hours through the wintry landscape. Until at last he spotted a castle glowing with warm light in the distance. Hoping to find some help, he stepped inside. The castle was unlike anything he had ever seen. The lights glowed brightly in every room. The dining table was lavishly set with food, and a warm fire crackled in the chimney. Yet, there was not a single soul in sight. He called out, but no one responded. Unable to resist any longer, he cautiously sat at the table, taking small bites of the delicious feast before him. Later, he found a cozy bed and decided to rest for the night. By morning, he awoke to find fresh clothes neatly laid out for him. As he made his way downstairs, a delightful breakfast awaited him on the table. This castle must belong to a kind fairy, he thought. Otherwise, who would offer such generosity? I only wish I could thank her. As he was about to leave the castle, his eyes fell upon a beautiful rose garden. I couldn't fulfill my other daughter's wishes, he thought, but at least I can bring Beauty what she asked for. The moment he plucked a rose, a deafening roar echoed through the air, shaking the ground beneath him. From behind the trees emerged a terrifying creature, a monstrous beast with the fierce features of a lion. The sight of it nearly made the poor man collapse in fear. "I saved your life, fed you, and even gave you new clothes," the beast thundered. "And this is how you repay me, by stealing my roses?" Falling to his knees, the man pleaded for mercy, explaining that he only wanted to take a rose for his daughter. "What you have done cannot go unpunished," growled the beast. "Please forgive me," the man begged. "I will spare you on one condition," the beast declared. "Speak to your daughters. If one of them agrees to live here with me, I will grant you your life." With a heavy heart, the man mounted his horse and rode home. When he arrived, he shared his terrifying ordeal with his daughters. The 2 selfish sisters, horrified by the story, paid no attention to the beast's demand. But Beauty, unlike them, did not turn away in fear. "Father, if you permit me, I am willing to go to the beast." Hearing this, the two sisters quickly agreed to her decision, believing that everything was her fault. With a heavy heart and no other choice, their father took Beauty and set off for the castle. Upon their arrival, everything looked exactly as it had before. The table was set with food, yet no one was in sight. As they took their seats and began eating, the beast suddenly appeared. Beauty trembled with fear, for the beast was just as terrifying as her father had described. But then, in a gentle voice, the beast asked, "Did you come here of your own free will?" "Yes," Beauty replied. "Then by morning your father must leave," the beast declared, "and he must never return." When Beauty woke up the next morning, she realized her father had already left. On the table, she found a delightful breakfast waiting for her. After eating, she strolled through the garden for a while. As she gazed at the roses, a wave of sadness washed over her. She then decided to explore the castle. One particular door caught her attention. It was adorned with roses. Curious, she hesitated for a moment before gently pushing it open. Peeking inside, she was amazed to see a room arranged exactly to her taste. It was filled with books, flowers, and musical instruments. Looking around, she thought to herself, someone who could create such a beautiful space surely couldn't be cruel. Its cover gleamed with golden letters. "My dear Queen, your wish is my command." "I wish to see my father right now," Beauty exclaimed. She was astonished but overjoyed to see him again. That evening, as she sat down for dinner, the beast arrived once more. "May I watch you while you eat, Beauty?" he asked. "You own this castle. Why do you need my permission?" she responded. "No," the beast corrected her. "This castle belongs to you now. If you wish, I will leave immediately." Beauty was taken aback by his words. "I have a question for you," the beast continued. "Do you think I am truly ugly?" For a moment, Beauty hesitated, unsure of how to respond. Then she slowly lifted her head, looked at him, and gave a slight nod. "Well then," the beast asked again, "would you marry me?" This time, Beauty's answer was firm and immediate. "No." Looking dejected, the beast turned away and left her alone. Every night at dinner, the beast continued to visit Beauty, treating her with kindness and respect. As time passed, she gradually grew accustomed to his presence. "I wish he wasn't that ugly." Months went by, and Beauty no longer felt afraid of the beast. In fact, she even began to enjoy his company. One day, while gazing into the enchanted mirror, she saw that her father had fallen ill. She rushed to the beast and pleaded, "Please let me go home. I need to take care of my father." "Of course you may go," the beast agreed. "But if you don't return, my sorrow may take my life." "I promise I will come back in a week," Beauty assured him. The beast handed her a magical ring. "If you place this ring on your nightstand before you sleep, you will wake up in the castle." The next morning, Beauty found herself back in her father's house. Overjoyed, she ran to him at once. Seeing her, her father's spirits lifted, and he soon felt better. Later that day, Beauty's two sisters, who had recently married, came to visit. When they saw Beauty at home, jealousy and anger filled their hearts. Determined to ruin her happiness, they devised a plan. "Let's make her stay an extra week," one whispered. "Then the beast will come and destroy her." They approached Beauty in tears, pretending to be heartbroken. "We don't want you to leave so soon," they sobbed. Moved by their pleas, Beauty agreed to stay another week. But as days passed, she found herself missing the beast. One night, she had a terrifying dream. She saw the beast lying motionless in the castle garden. She awoke in a panic. What I've done is selfish and cruel, she realized. Without hesitation, she took off the ring and placed it on her nightstand. The next morning, she awoke in the beast's castle. All day, she waited for him, but he never came. Growing more anxious, she searched the castle, but there was no sign of him. Finally, she ran to the garden. There, just as she had seen in her dream, the beast lay lifeless on the ground. Rushing to his side, she held him close. His heart was still beating faintly. With great effort, he opened his eyes and whispered, "I thought you wouldn't return, so I stopped eating and prepared to die." Tears welled in Beauty's eyes. "No, I love you, and I want to marry you," she declared. In that instant, magic filled the air. Stunned, Beauty turned back to the beast, but the ugly creature was gone. In his place stood a handsome young prince. Shocked, Beauty began to cry. "Who are you? What happened to the beast?" she asked. The prince smiled and explained, "I was the beast, an evil witch cursed me, turning me into a monster. The only way to break the spell was for someone to love me as I was. If you hadn't accepted me, I would have remained a beast forever." Overcome with happiness, Beauty realized she had found true love through her kindness and pure heart. Soon after, Beauty and the prince were married, and they lived happily ever after.